You're listening to the More Than the Music podcast, episode 29, Christmas edition, featuring Dave Frey of Sidewalk Prophets.
I loved carols, and my mom played guitar a little bit, and she would every year would sit down and play some chords, and we would get my little Fisher-Price cassette player, and we would record Mom and my brother and I singing carols to my grandparents.
That's awesome.
And so that they would put it in their little player at their house and have that for all the season. And, you know, that memory is a faded, distant one, but you saw how much they cherished it. Like, that was their treasure. That was a huge thing. You know, Mom taught me just to get up there and sing, and that it would at least put a smile on your grandma's face. That's what I say to everybody. Like, make a joyful noise because your grandma's going to love it.
You're about to hear how, unlike most kids, Dave got to stay up all night on Christmas Eve and still had presents on Christmas morning, how a sparrow of destruction almost ruined Christmas, how Dave was able to redeem a gift his brother got over a decade ago, and the song on Merry Christmas to You that they were struggling with until something magical happened in the studio. I'm Justin Paul, along with Dave Frey of Sidewalk Prophets, and we're going to talk about a lot more than just the music.
More Than the Music is hosted by Justin Paul, a touring musician turned national radio personality who loves the dramatic, humorous, sometimes tragic, and often inspiring story behind the songs from your favorite artists. You can connect with the show at wayfm.com/Justin. Now here's your host, Justin Paul.
I'm so thrilled to be joined by Dave Frey from Sidewalk Prophets. How you doing, man? Merry
Feliz
Christmas.
Navidad unto you, my friend.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about your Christmas album, Merry Christmas to You.
Yeah.
This time of the year, there is so much tradition.
Yeah.
So growing up as a kid, what were some of your traditions and what was Christmas like for you as a kid?
You know, we did this thing where we celebrated the birth of Jesus. It was awesome. We would put up a Christmas tree.
Wow.
Honestly, that's where this album came from, is our great desire. Ben and I, you know, we love Christmas. Our hope was to make an album that you could decorate your Christmas tree with. Always, I put on Charlie Brown's Christmas album, and I'll be honest, the one that I decorate my tree to is Mariah Carey's Christmas album, because that thing is on point. And we would always go to service, a candlelight service on Christmas Eve. Then one of my parents would go to meet Santa, and they would make sure Santa had the cookies and stuff. And the rest of us, usually my dad and brother and I would go, and we would look at Christmas lights at the park. They always had these cool shelters decorated by different people. When we got home, inevitably, we just missed Santa. Santa came on Christmas Eve for us. We were cooler than the other kids because he would come a day early, and he would leave all the presents. Mom would always be like, man, you just missed him. He ran out the door, but you got your presents.
You were one of the first ones on his list.
We would, and we would have our Christmas was Christmas Eve, and I always loved that. We are night owls. My entire family hates mornings, and so we would open our presents and stay up till like 1 or 2 playing with them.
Yeah,
and you know, maybe not that late until we got into college, but when we were done, we would try to wake up in time to at least see part of Disney parade. But that was our Christmas, and for years and years, that was our tradition, and it's still. I love Christmas Eve, Christmas. Then Christmas Day, family comes in, you celebrate, you realize why you know what you're doing it for, and now I think there's football games on Christmas, so it's a win-win, brother.
I guess growing up in Indiana, it felt like Christmas probably for you every year. I grew up in South Georgia.
Sure.
It was hot, man. It was like 60, 70 degrees some Christmases, and it's like, oh, I got a new sweater that I can't wear ever.
Yeah, we only went to Florida for Christmas once, and it was weird because then like you never got the snow or even the cold a lot of times. But then last Christmas, I'll never forget. It was 70 degrees. My little cousin Elijah, he got some new gloves for wide receiver gloves. We went out and played football, and it was the most gorgeous day. It was so weird. So normally Indiana could be white or at least a little chilly, but down South Georgia, I'm sure
it was warm, man. It didn't feel like Christmas at all.
High on your list, brother.
No. Are you like a Christmas before Thanksgiving guy, or are you kind of like Christmas has its season? I
would, but being on the road, I'm home for 6 days this run, and that's never happens. Like I never get 6 days in my house, and so I'm going to try to get as much out of it as possible. And my Thanksgiving decorations are a little lackluster. I got a Mickey Mouse wreath and I got Snoopy holding a pumpkin pie. Once Halloween decorations came down, the Christmas decorations are about to go up, and I go big on the Christmas, so I'm ready.
When does the Christmas tree come down? Is it the day after Christmas?
No, usually after the New Year.
I'm not a Christmas before Thanksgiving guy. My wife isn't really either, but I'll tell you what, on December 26th, that Christmas tree comes down out of the house. She is like, First of all, she's a planner. She's very organized, and she's like, oh,
she's ready to get back to
moving on. Let's look on to 2017. Well, I grew up, my mom was not like that at all.
Yeah.
I grew up, our Christmas tree might stay up till Easter.
Sure.
You know, we just decorate for every other holiday.
Yeah, I love the thought of a St. Patrick's Day tree. That's a good idea.
Valentine's Day tree.
Like, it gets really brown around St. Patrick's Day, but it's still there, baby.
Yeah, that thing would be dead. It'd be like a fire hazard in our house, and it would still be up.
Truth.
As a kid, what did you most love about Christmas?
Oh, man. Presents. If you want to be my selfish and true answer. You know, hands down, one of the coolest stories as a kid, my mom's a great woman. She would have Santa come to our house. And I'm not kidding. Like, Santa would come with bag in hand, a trash bag in hand, full of toys. And this is what's great. Santa, I didn't realize this. I was like, Mom, how come Santa sounds like your friend Donna? And she said, David, don't you know? Santa can disguise his voice to be somebody that you really love. And I was like, Mom,
yeah,
that is so true. And so Santa would come with these toys. Well, one year, I'll never forget, Santa came in and let a sparrow into the house. And it flew around. It knocked ornaments off the tree, went into my parents' bedroom, and it was just causing havoc. Santa throws all the toys out of his bag, grabs it, captures the sparrow in his magical bag, and throws it out into the night air. And I'll never forget, my grandma said, well, I've heard of the bluebird of happiness, but that was the sparrow of destruction. And I laughed so hard. I think I was 6 or 7, and I'll never forget that Christmas. But I loved when Santa would actually come. And it did. It made you feel as a kid like, man, you guys didn't get to meet Santa. He came to my house. I didn't have to go to the mall. He was already at my house.
Why is that not a song on this record, man?
I don't know. That Sparrow of Destruction, that sounds pretty intense for a
Santa
Christmas
caught the
song.
sparrow.
That's right. It might happen next time. So,
was there ever a time that Christmas and music kind of intersected? Because I'm a drummer, and I got my first drum set when I was like 7 years old as a kid. Was there a time that Christmas kind of played a part in music and what you would eventually become?
You know, man, I loved carols, and my mom played guitar a little bit, and she would every year would sit down and play some chords, and we would get my little Fisher-Price cassette player, and we would record Mom and my brother and I singing carols to my grandparents.
That's awesome.
And so that they would put it in their little player at their house and have that for all the season. And, you know, that memory is a faded, distant one, but when my grandparents passed, I remember them getting Mom going in, and they had kept all of our cassettes like in a row, and it brings me to tears still today. But it was really, you saw how much they cherished it. Like that was their treasure. Forget the grandfather clock and the awards, but here was our tapes. You know, these cassette tapes that had my little brother and I's terrible caroling voices when we were young. But yeah, that was a huge thing. You know, Mom taught me just to get up there and sing, and that it would at least put a smile on your grandma's face. That's what I say to everybody. Like, make a joyful noise because your grandma's gonna love it.
Yeah. My grandmother passed away this year, so this is my first year, and my grandfather had already passed away. So this is my first year without grandparents on Christmas, and I don't know how it's gonna change. I know for Thanksgiving we didn't really do the same kind of stuff, so. Yep. Christmas, I'm not really sure. Like, we used to go to Grandma's house on Christmas Eve, and that's where we saw everybody, and I'm not sure what's happening.
It's
that first
year
is kind of weird. That
transition's tough, you know, and I'm blessed to have aunts and uncles, and they're going to probably come around Christmas time, and it is a fiasco because they have the cutest and most unruly kids, and I love them to death. You know, I think that it's imperative, especially amongst brothers and sisters, you know, aunts and uncles to you as a kid, that bond remains, and that you find, you know, somebody's house to go to. But yeah, that common centerpiece, that grandma's house, when that no longer is there, it is a little bit of sadness. And Christmas can make you have those feelings of sadness, but man, they also bring out the best memories too. Yeah. I'll never forget Grandma and Grandpa and the memories that they gave to me at Christmas time.
The song on this album, it's a testament that you really love Christmas, because there are a lot of original Christmas songs on this album. How do you get in that mindset? When are you writing Christmas songs? Are you writing them at Christmas time?
Not even close. We wrote so many of these songs. I remember there's a song towards the end of the album called Hope Was Born This Night, and we wrote it at a camp in the middle of July. It was maybe the hottest day, 102 degrees outside in Jackson, Tennessee. But the camp was celebrating Christmas week. The staff would get together and buy each other's white elephant gifts. They put up a Christmas tree in the middle of July. So I'll never forget, Ben and I go to this piano, gather around this tiny Christmas tree, and we just let our Christmas out in the middle of July. And we did it again, like I think the next year we were in Glorieta, New Mexico, did the same thing, and we wrote on Christmas week of that camp. So you just find times and ways to try to make it happen. And if you really think about it, like, you probably could use a Christmas pick-me-up in the middle of July, you know?
Yeah.
There's probably some heat and some exhaustion, and just to think about those thoughts, when you think happy thoughts, when you think about the birth of Jesus, it makes you cooler, you know, makes you feel a little better.
One of the original Christmas songs is the first track, What a Glorious Night.
Yes. You know, What a Glorious Night is a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun right now with John and Casey, and probably the coolest story to come out of that one is what starts the album off, and that is Linus, the actual character of Linus from Charlie Brown's Christmas, sang his famous, Luke story of Christ. And talk about hoops to jump through to get Linus to make it happen. We worked with our awesome label, and they were like, we got approved by Oxford. In order to do NIV, you got to go through Oxford. In order to do this, you got to go through here. Well, they got everyone's approval. And then the day before the album is supposed to go to print, they said, we forgot to ask Linus, like the actual person. And so they did some research. They found out that Linus, the actual man that played him, had passed away, but that his wife and his kids were the ones that would give permission. So I called his wife on the phone, and I left this voicemail just saying, listen, your husband's words have touched my life. They've changed my life. I'm now a singer, blessed to be in Nashville doing what I love, talking about Jesus and what his birth means to the world. I would be so honored if you'd give us permission. And she ended up calling the label back, either her or her daughter. They called him back and gave permission.
That's
the day
awesome.
after, I remember the label was like, we gotta get it done. We gotta get it done. And they're like, can I have one more day? Because they didn't answer that day, the deadline day. So they gave me one more day, and then they called in. And by the nick of time, by the skin of our teeth, we made it. And now when you listen to our album, it starts out with Linus doing his beautiful little soliloquy.
I hear the angels singing, hallelujah, let the earth receive her King. I know that love has come, sing it out, Jesus Christ is born, Jesus Christ is born, yeah.
You got originals, you've got some classics on there. Track number 2 with Francesca Battistelli,
Yeah.
White Christmas.
I love Franny, if I'm allowed to color that. I love her so much. And when we were thinking about doing White Christmas, we wanted to do the Home Alone version, the do-be-whoop. And in order to do that, in order to not make it cheesy, we needed another great singer. And I felt like, doing a duet with her would be perfect. And so she was so nice, but we never could jive our schedules because she's on the road, we're on the road. And so I remember the only day that would work that both of us could be there together was the day that my brother had to go to the hospital. And so she ended up doing the White Christmas. I think my brother, I can't even remember what happened. She had like a sinus infection. His eyeball started swelling. I had to run him to the emergency room. I was like, Francesca, I'm so sorry I'm not going to be there. She's like, it's cool. I know this song. And she knocked it out of the park. And it was awesome. And I think she recorded that. I remember recording this album. It was like on a gorgeous day in September, and it's like, you got to get into your White Christmas spirit. But it was so much fun. Just hearing it afterwards. And Francesca's so meticulous, and she's a perfectionist. And there were so many takes. She did so many takes. And every one, I was like, that's perfect. John and Casey, the producers, they were like, no, she didn't like that one. I was like, why? It's amazing. And they went through all these, and there's 100 takes of it. And unfortunately, 99 of them didn't get used, but it was perfect. I loved it.
You can make a whole album of just White Christmas.
Francesca's outtakes. It's amazing.
B takes.
Dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days, may your days, may your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
Are you early or last minute shopper? Do you get your Christmas shopping done way in advance, or are you like me and in the store on December 24th?
You know, I usually try to knock it out pretty early just because of being on the road. Like, the road has tempered me. I usually, before I was in a band and on the road, I definitely was a December 24th shop.
Yeah.
I procrastinated everything. But now that I'm on the road, you know, we might have an off day. We were at the Mall of America, and I found something perfect for my fiance, and that's a rare occasion, so I had to jump on it. And so Amazon has helped that a lot too, just having it come right to my door, baby.
Absolutely.
But you know, I don't care about sales, or like, I just want to get it done and over with. Like, if I paid $5 more and didn't have to wait in line with a lady elbowing me in the face, it's worth it, man.
My wife is a get it done. She'll listen to people all throughout the year and take cues on
that's
what
intense.
they say.
You got a good woman,
She'll make
man.
notes in her phone. And here I am, like December 23rd. Hey, baby, what you want for Christmas?
Exactly.
Because I'm going to have to go buy it tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Hope you like Walgreens, because that's all that's open.
Hope you like Walgreens and gift cards, because that's about all.
Mucinex and some sort of
gummy
small
worms.
toy.
I get you some candy
Gummy worms,
to go with your Christmas card.
That's it.
I hear that you are really good at being able to take a lyric that you hear and place it to the song.
Sure.
Can you do that with Christmas songs too?
I'll try my best.
Okay, because I got some obscure lyrics, and I'm wondering,
obscure Christmas
like
lyrics.
the third verse of a song that you probably wouldn't sing.
I don't know about that, but
you don't know about that.
We'll try.
Like, maybe Christmas is not where you're good at that. Is it somewhere?
I'm really good at Disney, but
okay. Let's try this. Okay. I'm gonna read you. I'm not gonna sing it, but I'm gonna read you one of the obscure verses from a song, and you tell me the title. How silently, the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of his heaven.
Ooh.
What Christmas song is that?
Is that what's the name of that one? Peace on the earth, goodwill toward men. That one.
I think that's God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
No, I can't remember.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at this too.
Well, what is it?
Okay, so how silently, the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of his heaven.
Is that Good King Wenceslas?
No. It's O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Oh, silently. Oh, how does that even work in there? Man, that is obscure.
I think it's a verse that nobody's
done that
like the one
baby.
they've just excluded. All right, let's try one more. Maybe this is a little easier.
Okay,
more common Christmas song. The cattle are lowing, the poor
that's
baby
a way to
waits.
manger. Booyah.
Look at that, man.
As soon as you talk about cattle, this Indiana boy, I know that's a way to manger.
I heard, Dave, you were like the expert on hearing a lyric and knowing the song.
Yeah, I usually try to be, as long as you stay away from Celine Dion songs, because I cannot stand them. But yep.
Going back to your music now, this song, Hey Moon, obviously it's an original Christmas song, but what's the story behind this one?
Hey Moon is probably one of my favorite songs we've ever written, let alone Christmas. And our buddy Sam Mizell, we wrote Words I Would Say with him and Keep Making Me. And we get into this room with this guy, and he's cut from the same cloth. And he has some of the greatest ideas the world's ever heard. And he says, guys, this is dumb. This is real dumb. But what if the Christmas star is hanging out with the moon, and they're just having a conversation? He goes, he's talking about that night Jesus was born. And even just telling that story, I'm getting goosebumps, because I was like, if you think that's dumb, you're dumb. And that's exactly what I said. I was like, that is brilliant. And as soon as he said that, I went into the Dave Cave. I started writing, and I was like, I want this to be as if you open up the door to a toy shop. Like, the actual sounds that are made, the percussion is from toys, like wind-up toys.
Cool. Yeah.
And Justin does a little bit of drum set, but most of it's all toys that he's winding and unwinding, and it's a lullaby, and it's from the perspective of the star saying, hey moon, do you remember that night? People will look up and see us and remember that. Man, I loved that idea. Came from a brilliant place in Sam's mind, and then I just unpacked it, and it was a blast to write, and it was so beautiful to think a brand new perspective of, hey, this is something else. This star was there. It guided the wise men. It made sure that it shone right there in Bethlehem. Yeah. And man, that Christmas star, that image always gives me goosebumps when I think about writing that song.
So many like little intricate things had to happen for the birth of Jesus to take place, including like just the star.
The star
itself. Just the North Star. I mean, that alone is kind of a piece that you take it out of the story, Jesus is still going to be born.
Sure.
But wow, look what God did with a star and three men.
Exactly. That one always hits close to home, and it probably is our most requested song that we don't play, because literally from January till October, people are like, hey, can you play Hey Moon tonight? And so once in a while, we'll pull it out. We had this little girl that was her dream, and she wrote a letter, and she wrote it to Ben, and she said, Dear Ben, can you please play Hey Moon? I fall asleep to it every night, and it's my favorite song ever. And, it's in all, terrible grammar. And so we brought her up on stage and had her sing it with us. And she was so shy and so cute. And her mom actually had to come up and sing with her, beside her. But it was one of the greatest moments of our tour. Like, that I still remember this little girl's face when we sang Hey Moon on stage with her. And it's definitely a song that touches. And I'm so grateful that Sam, it goes to show, dumb ideas are only in your mind. Like, a lot of times you speak them out and you realize God's doing something brilliant with it.
You should just throw it in like your festival set in the
There
summer,
you go,
man.
in the
Just
middle of the
throw in
summer,
a Christmas
man.
song. Not kidding. I saw a new song once in concert. It was like April, and they sang
did
Christmas Shoes.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, those guys.
Sure, I
Those
wanna
guys.
buy the. I mean, that sounded like Garth Brooks a little bit.
Yeah,
but-
that was a little Garthy. But
I remember that newborn baby and the wise men that traveled so far. That's when I knew I was made for a reason. I feel like the luckiest star. Hey, moon.
Merry Christmas to You.
Yes.
Is the title track on this album.
Booyah.
All of these songs are so fun and festive, and this especially one too.
This was over the top fun. We were on Winter Jam in March, and I'll never forget, it was freezing cold, and we're like, hey, we got to start this Christmas project. This was the first one we wrote for the album, and we're like, we got to start somewhere. Why not a terribly ugly backstage locker room in Cincinnati? And so we're in this nasty, nasty dorm and our dome, and we just huddled ourselves in this gray room, and we thought about what are the things that define Christmas to you outside of the story of Jesus' birth. And we're like, Grandpa snoring, stockings. I remember getting a kazoo and being mad about it. I remember crashing my sled, snowmen. And so we threw all those things into this song, and we even threw Cousin Eddie in it from Christmas Vacation. Cousin Eddie's in there. We got Scrooge. We got everything you could want in a Christmas song smushed into about 2.5 minutes of wonderment. And that's how we wanted to make sure that we brought the fun in.
Oh yeah, Christmas only comes but once a year. The happiest of days is finally here. So come on, sing it out. Let's give love that's true. Merry Christmas to you. Oh yeah, yeah.
When you get a gift like a kazoo that you absolutely hate,
Sure.
do you re-gift it, or what do you do with it?
I believe the line is, you got socks, I got a kazoo, which actually a kazoo is quite nice compared to a pile of socks.
yeah.
So, kazoo, you just annoy your brother with it. If you get socks, back in the day, I would just throw them under the bed, and just let them collect, because you can't really re-gift socks without being a jerk.
Yeah, do you normally re-gift stuff? No?
I think I only have once in my life, and it was because I had to of it. But normally I would just go to a Walmart and say, hey, I think my friend got this in. Can I have a gift card?
Kind of something my wife and I have done, not necessarily intentionally, because we aren't necessarily re-gifters. We don't want to make that person who gave it to us feel bad. But if you wait a year, it makes you feel better.
You feel a little better, yeah.
Like,
definitely not the same year. That could be.
That thing's been sitting here for a year.
And your mom's like, why didn't you use your, fondue pot, man? That thing was
Mom, I don't
incredible.
fondue, okay?
Yeah.
Stop buying me all the stuff to fondue. I don't do that. What was one of the weirdest Christmas gifts you ever got? Do you remember?
Probably the coolest gift I ever got. There's a double story to this one. I received a Mickey Mantle autographed baseball card from our neighbors. He met Mickey Mantle and knew I love baseball, got me one. My brother got the Polar Express autographed by the author. And my brother opened it up and said, what is this stupid book? And my mom turned white, and my brother got not only the Polar Express, but a hard spanking that day, and justifiably so. So I'm telling this story on the radio, and we're at a baseball stadium, and it's October, and all of a sudden I get called in. We're on tour with 10th Avenue North. I love those boys, and I'll never forget 10th Ave's like, hey, they really want to see you. And I'm like, I'm so tired. My throat was feeling bad. No, the heads of this baseball team. I was like, okay. They bring me in. They said, hey, somebody was listening to your radio interview, and he heard the story about your brother, and he wanted your brother to have this. Nolan Ryan was listening to our interview.
What?
And he owned this baseball team that we were playing at, gave me an autographed Nolan Ryan baseball. And so last Christmas, I gave my brother a book. I gave him one of the Harry Potter books, and like beautiful. And he was like, oh, I'm so excited you gave me this. I wanted this. Then I said, there's one more gift. And underneath the Harry Potter book was this wrapped up baseball. I said, do you know who that is? He goes, no. I was like, that's Nolan Ryan. He heard your story about that Mickey Mantle card and he wanted to make it up to you. And my brother like almost dropped the ball in shock. And like, it was so cool, but that was a good gift.
Man, that's
for
an
sure.
awesome Christmas
Off
gift,
the wall,
man.
baby.
Awesome.
Nolan Ryan. Woo.
That spirit of Christmas on this album too. Why do you love this one?
The Spirit of Christmas is a Ray Charles song, and some people wondered if it was ours or because it's an obscure one. And when we put it on the list of potentials, our producers, John and Casey, they were like, man, I'm so glad you put that on. That's one of my favorites. It is that scene in Christmas Vacation when he goes to the attic and starts to play the old movies. And he plays that Ray Charles song, and it always touched me. Just that familyness and this aura of the spirit of Christmas being all about coming together as a family and loving each other as Christ did. And so we wanted it on there. We couldn't figure out how to do it. We tried and tried. And then finally, I'll never forget, we were all in the studio. I decorated the studio. It was, I call it Merry Chris May. Okay, so I put up a Christmas tree. I put up a Charlie Brown flag. I mean, I decorated it to the nines. And I remember Tim Lauer was playing keys for us, and he said, hey, boys. And he looks like Kevin Costner. He gives rousing speeches. He said, boys, let's get out of our own minds. Let's just play this together. And in one take, I'm saying, we cleared our minds, and in one take, Justin, Cal, our bass player and our drummer, Tim, Sean, me, all in one take, the vocals, all in one take, we played that song. And it is exactly as you hear it.
Wow.
In one take. The only thing we added was the choir that came in later. But other than that, we just played it straightforward. And when it was done, I remember Tim holding his hand up and saying, hold on. That was perfect. And it was like, boom. And it just gave me such a good feeling that song's on there because it's an obscure one that we hopefully are introducing people to. And man, it was never had a moment like that in the studio. It was a blast.
Why can't it remain? All through the year, each day the same. Oh yeah, that's what I want to hear. It's truly amazing, that spirit of Christmas.
Well, I think you've accomplished your goal of making a record that people can listen to while they decorate their Christmas tree. I'm so
Yes.
glad that you were here to share the stories behind the songs and to share a little bit more about what Christmas is like for you.
Thank you, brother. Honored to be here.
You've been listening to the More Than the Music podcast, episode 29, Christmas edition, featuring Dave Frey of Sidewalk Prophets. If you've enjoyed this episode, or any others, would you kindly give the show a 5-star rating and review inside iTunes? Your 5-star rating and review would be greatly appreciated. I'm Justin Paul. To connect with the show and to even have a chance to win Sidewalk Prophets CD Merry Christmas to You that was featured in this episode, just go to wayfm.com/Justin. Merry Christmas.